Thorn sort of pick up from here as far as, again, nature addressing and being the center focus of the facility.
We flipped a coin to see who was going to come to Washington to do these presentations, and somehow it was a tie, so that's why I'm here. This really is the essence of the Pine Jog School. This preserved stand of pines is the focus of the two classroom wings. One of the things that you notice is the fact that the north-facing buildings don't have the sunshades, the south-facing do have. This is really the focus for the exterior education, outdoor education. Another area of outdoor education is the head of the trails that Mike mentioned earlier. It's really a focal point. Also has an elevated slab for gatherings and special events. One thing you'll notice about school buildings, particularly in Florida and a lot of other states, is taxpayer-funded buildings have to be financially responsible. They have to be judicious in their use of building materials and fancy systems. So we have basic tilt-up walls, basic add-on elements of aluminum canopies of various types to really set the stage of the architecture that runs between the environmental center and the school. So the environmental center is like a little mini-me of the school, if you will. Again, with prefabricated or site-fabricated, I should say, aluminum canopies, this is standard off-the-shelf components that you can configure in a variety of ways for the canopies. We're able to use sort of a sense of biomimicry to give a flavor to our tree columns. For this big eco-porch, the eco-porch is a space that's used for flexible events in addition to circulation. So it's really programmed space that's unair conditioned, so automatically that saves us a lot of energy costs in our architectural envelope. The environmental center exterior really wears a lot of its green on its sleeve. You can see our 5 kW PV array here. You can see one small solar hot water collector. You see a variety of cisterns that are placed around the front of the building to be used for demonstration purposes for residential homeowners who want to come to the center and get an idea of how to implement these sustainable features. We did use some asphalt on the project, but we were able on our parking stalls to use porous concrete pavers for our parking stalls. And that worked out really nicely, and the water just goes right into the ground and recharges the aquifer. Obviously, bicycle features are evident, and preserved a lot of existing native tree materials. Very large trees all over the site were preserved where possible, and almost all of them were. This photograph was taken actually a couple months after the school opened. It's been 2 years now, and the building has really filled in a lot. There have been a lot of landscape restoration, regeneration projects, like one in this bioswale area here. If you were to go to the building today, the tree canopy is already starting to come up well around this area. We're holding it just far enough away from the PV, obviously, and the solar hot water. But that's really the idea, that these multicolored buildings kind of fit into the landscape and really get quite a bit camouflaged by the landscape. And again, you see our cisterns over there. The building envelope is, again, very straightforward. We used conventional materials in innovative ways as best we could. We introduced clear stories and got some daylight into the central hallways on the second floor, which also have teaching areas, which I'll show you in a minute. We were able to use sunshades on the south, on the second floor, and sun screens on the first floor. So this is a sun screen here, and it lets some light in. We sort of theorized, and I think it's going to come to pass, that the tree canopies, as they grow up around the buildings, will provide more of a diffused light down to the first floor. So by just putting the sun screens in, we get a little more light in, and most likely there'll be very strong sun up on the second floor, which is why we use the solid sunshades there. The windows are standard hurricane impact resistant windows, and we sort of reflect the natural randomness of nature. And our windows have to be designed to 146 mile per hour wind code in Florida. Like all our exterior green features, you have to be a little bit careful in Florida of just sort of dangling your green bling on a building. It just doesn't work that way. We get cited by the code officials if we do anything a little too casually. This is our primary teaching hallway. Each classroom wing has one, and we have windows into our HVAC room, into our electric room, and also into a data room, so the kids are able to see all the equipment. Not only that, they look up to the ceiling and they see the fire protection, they see the data cable trays, they see the lighting fixtures and how the whole building works. And the idea is that this all inspires questions in second, third graders and so on. What is that? How does it work? I want to learn how this works, and they do learn. And in fact, now even third and fourth graders are doing tours of this school. So you can go to the school, and the kids will give you a tour of the school, and probably come pretty close, almost as close to the teachers as knowing exactly how the school works. There's measurement tools for 4 things: electric use, water use, solar PV performance, and solar hot water performance. I didn't mention that the school itself has a much larger PV array, and the school also uses solar hot water for the kitchen process water. All of those things you can check online anywhere at any time for, let's say, the last hour's activity, the performance, the last day, the last month, the last year at your computer. And the kids take this stuff home and talk to their parents about it, and it's integrated into the curriculum as well. They do math and science experiments based on how the building is performing. Our integrated design process included working with both client institutions, FAU and the school district, on making sure that the colors and textures to be used on the outside of the building really emanated from the site. You'll see that as I talk about the interiors. The polished concrete floors, for instance, we introduced acid-etched patterns onto the surface of the polished concrete floors that really help convey the theme. Each area of the school classroom wings have different colors and different critters on the wall to help identify neighborhoods of the school for the different grade levels. And this was one area where we had to do a little convincing of the school district. They had not used polished concrete before. It sounded a bit radical to them. They were worried about slip and fall, but actually these floors are no more slippery than regular vinyl tile, as it turns out, and they love the maintenance. It's a little more expensive first cost, but the maintenance over vinyl tile is a phenomenal increase in savings to the district. Also, you see here our daylight monitors, and these lights in the areas where the daylight monitors are on photocell. Our communal shared spaces like the media center and dining multipurpose also work the themes in, as we've talked about, including bringing images from the site. These are all photographs that were imposed on the clouds and the screens and so on. And we used inspirational quotes from environmentalists in the media center. This is one of several skills labs that we have in the building. The skills labs have access directly to the exterior so that the kids can go out and do project-based learning on the outside of the building. And I guess the best example is they go out and work in the hydroponic garden. And this is, hands down, this is the most popular feature of the entire school, which, being architects, we were kind of shocked that it wasn't, directly the architecture that was somehow inspiring these kids, but it was like, no, it's the hydroponic garden. And so the kids really grow their own strawberries, their own produce. It's watered from the rooftop, so the cisterns capture the rainwater harvest. As a matter of fact, the principal just added another big cistern because there wasn't quite enough water to begin with. And this is really turning into a major phenomenon because the students harvest their own food and they sell it it started selling it in the office, but now it's gotten so big they do an annual strawberry festival and they make a lot of money for the school. They had one of the parents was an attorney, and he came and did business plans. So now every year they do business plans for their garden and they learn how to sell the produce. We have a few more slides that we're just going to go through quickly. This is that additional planting that's now come in front of the Environmental Education Center. This is some of the original planting in front of the main entrance to the elementary school. This is an additional shot of our main courtyard. This is the eco-porch looking from the main courtyard, and the kids in the eco-porch. And just an architectural detail. Again, even the pickets, we wanted to get inspiration from the pine needles that fell on the ground all around the facility. So we used this idea of randomness throughout the facility. And in closing, I just wanted to quote Richard Louv, who is the author of a great book, The Last Child in the Woods. If we're going to save environmentalism and the environment, we must also save an endangered indicator species, the child in nature. That's the Pine Jog Project. Thank you.
So that's it from our presenters. On behalf